Aloha, beautiful cosmic quantum sentient beings of cosmic love. Here we are sitting in the center of the holodeck, living library, sharing another direct transmission from Source. Beautiful temple of light and love, where the divine mathematical computer was revealed to me on the 8th of July, 2013. Oh, yes, birdies, thank you. Once upon a time, I had a prayer standing at a tree I called the Oneness Tree. Please just show me how to restore this garden and all of her divine beings. And I will listen and I will follow the instructions. This beautiful garden created to sing the music of creation. Music of the spheres. Of which we are coming back into alignment with. We're getting there. In fact, we're already here. Sit back, relax, enjoy the transmission, and allow the sounds of this beautiful orchestra to emanate love and awaken the heart of all of life in unity and co-creation. The garden as she was created to be. Simply love. Symphonic, and we have returned to the center of this magnificent mathematical holodeck. And little ants are running all over this magnificent book, Our Mathematical Universe. What are the chances that I would be looking for a different book this morning and this one would jump out of the cupboard to my hands? So beautiful. So we have returned to the center of the holodeck and we have opened the book. And it's talking about photon Legos. Now, every we who has followed the love streams knows that I often share that the 64 codons in the human DNA are kind of like Lego building blocks. And I often use a metaphor that it was like we sat down like kindergarten students or kids in a classroom. The magnificence of the cosmic art supply shop. And those of us who were signing up for duality were set before us 64 codons like Lego building blocks, and each one had a different color or shape or size. And that, just like Lego building blocks, we were guided by Source or creation or God or our higher self, whatever we like to call it, to take 64 codons, and we got to choose something like maybe 26 and put them all together, and then in the simultaneous miracle coordinate we all flooded our spirit into our unique designs to take them for a ride. I will open this for the sake of the book. We're having a little bit of rain shower. So, yes, we flooded ourselves into our magical creations and we took them for a ride throughout the cosmos. My goodness, the page before says Cosmic Legos.
Wow.
And the page that we opened to, of course, I was guided to take the name Cosmic Love, just following the mathematical equations set before me. It was April of 2011 in my early morning meditation that I thought it was quantum physics equations being downloaded to me. They were coming at light speed into my awareness. And I went, am I writing a book on quantum physics? And the guidance said, no, you're going to make a film called Awaken. And you're going to share these very codes we are showing you in your head. The mathematics of creation. So we open to page 166 and 167. And at the top of 166 it says Cosmic Legos. And on the top of 167 it says Photon Legos. I think we're just following the mathematics with precision. On this magnificent day as the 3333 equation sets up for divine twin ray Christos embodiment together. All the codes brought through on this divine temple from whence we are currently bringing through the transmission. So the book says, it's not only stuff that's made of Lego-like building blocks. As we mentioned in part 1 of this book, so is light, being composed of particles called photons. Now, Anyone who was watching the love streams recently, I was talking a lot about the adamantine particles of creation. We could say they are an upgraded version of photons, but I don't see them mentioned in this book. Adamantine is the shortcut. Simply love. Don't be afraid to take the hand of the one that meets us at the gate, if we are interested in the shortcut. God always answers all of the prayers of their children. It's just, are we willing to receive them? For decades earlier, so it says photons were inferred by Einstein in 1905. 4 decades earlier, James Clerk Maxwell had discovered that light is an electromagnetic wave, a type of electrical disturbance. So now we're talking about waves and particles, and if you've followed any of the love streams, you'll know that I often talk about the Sophionic harmonic. Sounds to me like Christos Sophia, but I'm just saying if anyone wants the codes for the shortcut. So they're referring to particles and waves. James Clerk Maxwell had discovered that light is an electromagnetic wave, a type of electrical disturbance. If you could carefully measure the voltage between 2 points in a beam of light, you'd find that it oscillates over time. Time. In the previous love stream that we shared, which was, I think the title was Restoring the Mother, brackets board, as we sit in this divine heiau with a very special crystal held closely to our chest that Miss Symphonic and Mr. Shanondan have brought forward as a divine twin ray embodiment in a crystal that has been held by the hands of the beloveds. We are holding this beautiful crystal delicately to properly align the motherboard, the center of this beautiful holodeck. Last miracle week, we did some special alignments. Well, part of the pod was in a very special cave. We came to this temple and planted a beautiful crystal from Ilana. And that crystal was imbued with the qualities of equality and the rising of the human family, placed very gently and carefully into the stones of the center of this light ship. Equality restores the balance within us of our masculine and feminine. The feminine nature rises in the masculine aspect of our heart, and the feminine aspect of us speaks her intuition. That's how the parts restore inside of us, and that is the union of the Magdalene Christos, or we would say the Christos Sophia. So, when this book speaks about that that light is an electromagnetic wave and a type of electrical disturbance. Here comes that wind again, those elementals. You are so fun to play with. Restoring our true relationship with the elementals of creation. So joyous that you're all sitting here with we. How magnificent that the page turned. This whole chapter is called, turns out, Cosmic Legos. I just happened to open it to this page. And the wind, being as playful as it is like, come on, get to the good part. The page flipped, and it says, above the law, ? It's quite interesting timing. In time. My goodness. Something like Cathars. Would you like to hold the crystal for a while? All right. We are imbuing this magnificent crystal with the codes of love. Simply love. Love as the shortcut. Wormholes and miracles. All right. So how do wormholes and miracles work? Well, they're transcendent of time. That little time coordinate. Back to the book. That light is an electromagnetic wave, a type of electrical disturbance. And I just am so excited that all of we who are listening with we are experiencing this magnificent garden. This location is so profound. Round stones making the floor of the sacred temple surrounded by stone walls, and it's like an auditorium with all the guava trees and the tea trees and other magnificent beings surrounding us in a circle. We love we so much. Beautiful nature. All right, Maxwell discovered that light is an electromagnetic wave, a type of electrical disturbance. If you could carefully measure the voltage between 2 points in a beam of light, you'd find that it oscillates over time. Why do we repeat so many fun things in the transmissions? Just so that they can emanate within us. If you could carefully measure the voltage between 2 points in a beam of light, you'd find that it oscillates over time. So, what this means is that if the 2 points did not oscillate over time, that would align them in the simultaneous miracle coordinate. It's only because they have a relationship to oscillate over time that creates a sense of separation. In the previous transmission we talked about how the guidance had come through and said to release my relationship with time to bring an end to all suffering and separation, and to align my consciousness and connect myself in with the miracle coordinate, which is when I started using the word miracle to replace time languaging. So it's an invitation. because when 2 points, it says in a beam of light, but a beam would suggest that it's stretching over time. If 2 points are not in a beam that appears to be stretching over time, which would also include space, might they be simultaneously together? Even if the eyes might not have caught up yet to realize that we're already together. Let's see if the book has more information. So fun how this book jumped out of the cupboard. We so much Oversoul. You're so fun and romantic, truly. All right. If you could carefully measure the voltage between 2 points in a beam of light, you'd find that it oscillates over time. But because we ended our relationship, our agreement with time, and we restored it with the miracle, that would mean there's no oscillation. And that's called quantum. Cosmic love. The frequency of this oscillation, how many times per second it oscillates. Oh, I'm noticing some time languaging there. Like, what in the world is a second anyways? Who defined what a second is? Someone created a clock. Mathematical genius. What about before the clock existed? Was there such a thing as a second? How did days get so divided up into hours, minutes, and seconds? And did that take the consciousness farther away from love as we divided everything up? Simply love. The frequency F of this oscillation, how many times per second it oscillates, determines the color of the light and the strength of the oscillation, meaning the maximum number of volts you measure. And the strength of the oscillation determines the intensity of the light. Our omniscope, what? Your omniscope, back in chapter 4, measures such voltage. Our omniscope, that makes me think of omniverse. It makes me think of omnipresent. It makes me think of omniscient. They have an omniscope. We got to jump to chapter 4 pretty quick here. I think we're going quantum. Either strap yourself into your seatbelt or get your seatbelt off. Might be the same either way, but just do something. Jump up and down right now. Might be happening any miracle. Get the popcorn. No, I mean they're getting the popcorn ready in the Pleiades right now. I feel it. I can smell the coconut. Oh no, it's blueberry spirulina oil. Are we having fun?
Yes.
Okay, so if we could carefully measure the voltage between 2 points in a beam of light, we would find that it oscillates over time. So oscillates means like a wave, up and down, over time. That's why our journey is up and down, because we are stretching it out over something called time. And when we end our contract with time and we connect it back into the miracle and we stay focused on the miracle, there's no more oscillating, meaning going up and down, up and down. There's just creating from a whole lit universe that is very stable. These little ants are so excited. They're climbing all over. We read the book together. They're very interested in moving beyond time and space. They're coming. Who's coming with? All right. So, the frequency F of this oscillation, how many times per second it oscillates, meaning it goes up and down, up and down, up and down. How many times are we going up and down, up and down in a second, minute, hour, a day? Oops, they don't exist, so we're not. The frequency of the oscillation determines the color of light, and the strength of the oscillation, meaning the maximum number of volts you measure, determines the intensity of light. And how fantastic when this page flew open, when we came back to the center of the holodeck, the light show came on, we took a picture. It was like, whoa, we're in heaven. Where did this light come from? Simply love. So we know when we are looking inside of ourselves and we are determined to see something beyond what we're seeing with our physical eyes, and we are retuning our sonar, to something so magnificent and beautiful that's always been here with us all along. The frequency of the oscillation, how many times per second it oscillates? The frequency of the oscillation determines the color of the light, and the strength of the oscillation determines the intensity. It might be a good idea to close our eyes for a little while. It's like why I'm really loving the nighttime these days. Our omniscope, from back in chapter 4, measures such voltage. We humans give these electromagnetic waves different names depending on their frequency. By increasing frequency, we call them radio waves, microwaves, infrared, red, orange, yellow, blue, green, violet, ultraviolet, X-rays, gamma rays. Let's call them the rainbow spectrum, and a few others beyond. And I'm pretty sure, because the magnificent post we read from the afterword of Jose Arguelles' book. What was the name of that book? I can't remember. He wrote a few. We'll post it on this link. You can read the post. It was really his dedication of love to his beautiful Lloydine. recognizing that after she passed, it was her love that guided him to all of his revelations to unlock himself from the density of duality. And Jose's book was all about activating the Rainbow Bridge is all over the planet. Simply love. The greatest gift that I have learned on my journey is how to intuitively listen. And how to never close the door on anything or anyone. And listen to the guidance. The guidance has this magnificent bird's eye view of how to direct the energy to align us all to our liberation from the maze of duality. So sometimes, like ship locks or irrigation locks in a field, some are opened or closed to redirect the water to assist all the fields to get flooded. But it's nothing personal. It's the bird's eye view of how to collectively unplug us. Cosmic love, so beyond human, always guiding with supra-intelligence for all of life and all of creation. It is said that 2020 is a quantum leap, and yet the guidance had given these miracle coordinates of 10:01:10 and 10:10:10, as though they were more significant and important. So miraculous to find ourselves at the center of creation, of this magnificent stone temple Heiau, at the center of the mathematical equation. So maybe we put ourselves into some creations we made with some Lego building blocks called codons, and flooded our spirit into our personality, our vehicle, our creation. And perhaps every single thing that has ever come our way, happened on our journey, or everything that we have perceived to be in a certain way has truly all been a blessing. Signposts on a miracle map through a magical corn maze. White butterflies and bluebirds guiding us as children of the garden, children of creation. May these transmissions, these love streams, be my offering of the most beautiful love to all of creation. When I chose to return after passing through the aurora 1122, 2015 coordinate, to return by choice to participate and assist in the unlocking of the superabundance. When I sat in the presence of all the star councils and all the star nations and benevolent creation, I felt like the tiniest little child. And when I experienced the benevolence of creation, there are no words to describe the truth. Of cosmic love, the all-pervading energy and benevolence of creation. And when I felt it and experienced it and looked into the eyes of beautiful, magnificent, benevolent creation, the only thing I could think to do was to get some more building blocks, Lego blocks, and come back and keep creating like a small child that makes something in art class and runs home with it in their hand to show it to their parents. That's how I felt. When I had that experience, the only thing I could think to do in the presence of such love was to come back in and create again. To assist, to transfigure the container, the mathematical equations of creation, of a world in separation. And so I was shown all the star maps, and I was guided how to use them to create a new blueprint, Lego building block, personality body to come back into. When Unity Grace came into me, the guidance said that this body no longer needed to pass away to bring in higher levels of light frequency, light consciousness. That the body vehicle had the capacity for me to portal hop in and out of time and space, as I had done on other occasions. The most beautiful love. That's what I was inspired to create, the most beautiful love for all of creation, and to embody physically hand in hand with my beloved twin ray. That oversoul aspect of the self for us to embody in physicality together, in creation, co-creation, collaboration, create art together, to imbue the codes of cosmic love into art together. What was that name of Jose's book? We're going to look it up. Stay with us, we're looking it up. The Art Planet Chronicles. The Art Planet Chronicles. And there was such a beautiful afterword to the book. The missing chapter. There's a beautiful message. We'll jump back to that. Let's go back to our book. We were talking about the forms of light. And they're all made of photons. The more photons an object emits each second, there's time languaging, the brighter it looks. Well, the book looked pretty bright when we came and sat down here, I got to say.
Yeah.
Hold the crystal for a moment. We'll put this we'll help to put this eminence into the crystal. Einstein realized that the amount of energy E in a photon was given by its frequency, F, through the simple formula E equals HF. H is the constant of nature known as Planck's constant. I think if you go to some of Nassim's work, you might discover a few new things. But Nassim took care of that part of things. So the constant H is tiny, so a typical photon has very little energy in it. If I lie on a beach just for a second, I get warmed by about sextillion photons, which is why it feels like a continuous flow of light. Isn't it interesting? I really don't want to be out in the light of day these days. Anyways, I'm just saying. We're going to jump ahead in this book, see what else is interesting. No, the wind just blew the page over. It's like, just jump to that part about above the law. All right, let's read what it says. It's interesting timing, I must say, in terms of time. Okay, so if everything is made of particles, then what are the laws of physics that govern them? Specifically, if we know what all the particles in our universe... Oh, the light's getting most interesting. It's like sunset, but everything on the temple is going golden. Remember the golden light we saw the other day driving? Okay. If everything is made of particles, then what are the laws of physics that govern them? Specifically, if we know what all the particles in our universe are doing right now, then what equation lets us calculate what they'll be doing in the future? Well, I don't think we're really interested in an equation that puts us in a future. I personally prefer to remain very present and very quantum. Love we so much. You know, it's said that at the end of the journey of purity, the shadow of purity is when you're in love with yourself. The seedy of purity is when your higher self falls in love with you. So sweet. True love affair with the divine, with all of creation. So if any of we is challenged in the miracle days, look up to the skies of our oversoul and commune together. I've been having really mature communions with my oversoul these days. Just letting my oversoul know which parts are really working and which parts feel like we could improve upon them. Because I'm really stoked that I chose to return to unlock the superabundance, which is for me and my beloved Oversoul Twin Ray to embody physically together in the garden. As the garden was created. Simply love. All right, back to this thing about the future. Cancel clear, we need a felt pen. Cross it out. We are quantum. We are above the law. These laws of time and gravity. It doesn't mean time and gravity aren't real and they don't matter. It's just that when we feel complete with them, we have the capacity to transcend them, to say thank you, and to move forward. Onward, aboveward, those words don't work. To move quantum, thank you. We have the capacity to go quantum. I tell you, these little ants know what's going on. They are actively participating in climbing on my physical vehicle, going, if you're going, we're coming. In quantum, there is no coming and going. all this English languaging. That's why we like to just say miracle, 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 miracles, 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 miracles. All right, the book says, if there was such an equation, meaning an equation that, let's go back. What was the purpose? If everything is made of particles, then what are the laws of physics that govern them? Maybe there's nothing governing the particles when we're quantum. Simply love. Specifically, if we know what all the particles in our universe are doing right now, oh, birdie. If we know what all the particles in our universe are doing right now, then what equation lets us calculate what they'll be doing in the future? Once again, we don't care. If there is such an equation, keeping in mind, I was being brain mapped when Comet Elenin went by. And there was a lot of downloads coming in that were picked up on the brain map. At the time, the guidance said, Comet Elenin is all good. Comet Elenin is the Christos. That miracle when the particle and the wave converge. Simply the most beautiful love in all of creation. If there is such an equation, then you might hope that it will allow us to, at least in principle, predict all aspects of the future from the present, from the future trajectory of a just hit baseball to the winners of the 2048 Olympics. Just figure out what all the particles will do, and there's your answer. Simply love. The good news is there does seem to be just such an equation. The bad news is that it doesn't predict exactly what the particles will do. And that almost a century after, someone wrote down, I can't pronounce his name, Schrödinger. Physicists still argue about what to make of it. We say simply love. What everybody does agree on is that microscopic particles don't obey the chemical laws of physics that were taught in school. Since an atom is reminiscent of a miniature solar system, it would seem quite natural to assume that its electrons orbit the nucleus according to Newton's laws. Just as the planets orbit the sun. Well, I think we're going to stop reading here because go jump to some of Nassim's work and some questionable statements here, and let's just jump back to simply love. We turned the page of the chapter Cosmic Legos. Page 170 says quanta and rainbows. Isn't this amazing? Because we're talking about rainbows in Jose Arguelles' book. And Jose suggested, and Jose spoke of the love of his beloved Lloydine and her inspiration to him to awaken. And his book one of his books was about connecting all these rainbows to go quantum. I felt deeply that that beautiful baton was passed to me and my beloved twin ray to unlock these particles of creation. Break the bonds of H2O. Go plasmic through the natural core cosmic principles of creation. Cosmic quantum love. I'm sure there's much more to be revealed in divine union and divine celebration of wormholes and miracles and particles and waves simultaneously unified, merged with and in all of creation. We love we. We are present with we. We have learned so deeply about the power of tenderness to unlock the vaults and dissolve swords and shields. The vaults around the heart, the 7 seals. Simply love. Simply love.